Today, I would like to introduce to you the birth, development and problems of Islamic currency and Islamic banking. First of all, let's take a look at the history of early Islamic coins and currencies as well as banking. In the days of prophets, Muslims used primitive metal or Byzantine coins as currency. Three metals were used in economic transactions: gold, silver and copper, which were used by Arab societies at that time until al-Malik ibn Marwan introduced a single, unified and unique Islamic gold coin, which was rightly regarded as a milestone in the early history of ISL. Coins of this style did not change until the fall of the Caliphate in 749 AD. In addition, for long-distance trade, saftaja is a letter of credit, opened by a money changer as a medium for currency exchange. Through the commercial activities of Arab businessmen, money supply and money circulation increased, and economic monetization formed the continental silver trade area connecting the Mediterranean, Middle East, Central Islamic Asia, and Northeast European markets. Let us now look at the influence of medieval Islamic coins and currencies from a Western perspective. The rise of Islam boosted economic development in Europe, and the long-term decline in the number, circulation, and monetization of Mediterranean money between 700 and 1000 affected the Eastern Mediterranean. Between the end of the 7th century and the beginning of the 10th century, European coins were never found in Middle Eastern inventories, nor was Islamic currency found in Western markets, because Arab societies hoarded societies like Indians or Chinese. It treats precious metals, whether silver or gold, as exchangeable commodities, or for minting or jewelry. Islamic currencies are highly liquid. Also, as we will now see, when the money supply increases, the money in circulation increases, and economic monetization occurs, it happens far from the Mediterranean, driven by silver rather than gold, which is typical of Mediterranean lords, and formed a continental silver trade area connecting the Mediterranean, Middle East, Central Islamic Asia and Northeast European markets, but excluding Western Europe. The Islamic silver revolution took place far from the Mediterranean, and thus failed to affect Mediterranean Europe, but had some impact on Russia and Northeast Europe.
Later.
In the second part, one will tell you about the current situation of Islamic currency, finance and banking in the modern economic system. At present, no currency can be called Islamic currency, that is to say, Islam does not have its own unique and exclusive monetary system. Any monetary system is acceptable as long as it meets the specific standards of the Islamic social and economic system. However, without its own monetary system, Islamic banks will not be able to achieve good development and be challenged by future development. The Islamic money market cannot guarantee the high liquidity of Islamic banks, and this lack of liquidity risk will lead to the ability of Islamic banks to make profits in the market. Technology has always been a challenge for Islamic banks. Therefore, if the Islamic financial system is to be truly liquid and efficient, it is necessary to develop more standardized and universally tradable financial instruments and efficient regulation. For example, train banking professionals to use Islamic financial products, to establish a regulatory system, reduce financing costs, to institutionalize debt recovery, create financial products with stable returns, to establish a complete legal framework. From the above, we can find that Islamic finance and banks still have many problems and deficiencies, and they still need to improve themselves, otherwise they will hinder their future development. Furthermore, Islamic banks compete in an advanced modern technological market, and the modern economic market is flooded with various complex banking products. These various banking products compete wildly with each other to seize the market. The problem for Islamic banks is not only the lack of banking products and the adoption of technology that can compete in the market, but also the lack of a suitable environment for them to use technology to derive banking products to compete effectively. Economic globalization poses challenges for Islamic banks to issue fatwas in fast-growing international financial markets. Among them, the regulatory complexity and branding of Islamic products are two prominent problems faced by Islamic financial institutions in the Western economic market. Due to the complex supervision system, the product will encounter multiple supervisions during the implementation process, which consumes the patience of the buyer and leads to the failure of the product implementation. Branding lies in the lack of in-depth understanding of the Islamic financial system, and Islamic banks in most Western societies, let alone promoting their own banking products without their own visibility. On top of that, today, prevailing monetary system in the world is based on fiat money, where the central bank issues the currency and gives it legal status in the country. This monetary system would also further increase the money supply through the credit creation process of commercial banks. Under such a monetary system, social wealth is transferred to currency creators, leading to socio-economic problems such as inflation, falling income, rising real estate prices, and uneven distribution of wealth. The social and economic problems created by this monetary system conflict with the requirements of Sharia law. Under the operation of today's mass currency system, all economic and financial activities generated by the Islamic financial system do not comply with the provisions of Sharia law and are not legal. In this context, a monetary system should be developed that can achieve the socio-economic goals of the Islamic financial system. Finally, you can see that Islamic banks are superior to traditional banks in terms of business growth, profits, and operational efficiency. The growth rate of Islamic banking is still more than twice that of the world's traditional banking industry. Islamic banking has proved to be a better choice and has an important potential to compete with the traditional banking systems of many countries around the world. With the rapid development of globalization, Islamic banks should establish bridge trade between Islamic countries and non-Islamic countries, expand their influence, actively solve the existing problems, and make the Islamic banking industry develop more healthily and smoothly.